All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome to your Daily Dose of Awesome, your live 50 minutes of daily motivation, inspiration, and education so you can get your day started right. TGI Friday. Welcome, everybody, for our final Daily Dose of Awesome for this week. With no excuses around the corner, I am super excited, also super busy. And so, sometimes it's a little difficult to come up with some topics. But what's cool is that you'll find in your copywriting, as you develop as a marketer, that experiences in your life become lessons that you can actually share with people, even the most silly and mundane things. And I'll give you an example. I want to share two stories. One of them has to do with a couple of days ago being at a baseball game with a friend and him walking out limping through no fault but his own. And I'm going to tell you why that happened and what it has to do with today's topic: networking without drama, how to get even without turning into a Neanderthal. I'm going to be really talking about, control over emotions in certain situations, and it'll be relevant to what you're doing in network marketing, what you've experienced with, possibly relationships with people you work with in network marketing, and just general in life. Hopefully it'll be enlightening. So, with that said, if you don't know who I am, my name is Fernie Ceballos. I'm a lead generation online marketing expert specializing in helping home business owners, network marketers, affiliate marketers, direct sellers multiply their incomes using the internet. I built my first six-figure network marketing business within a couple of years of discovering the techniques, strategies, and marketing methodologies that we teach here at Elite Marketing Pro. And over the past 10 years, I've been responsible for over $13 million in gross income into my home businesses, and I've helped our clients produce hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue for their businesses as well. So what we do and teach works. We've been doing it for the past 10 years. And while today's topic is not fully about that type of stuff, marketing strategies, social media recruiting, any of that stuff, it's going to be directly relevant to those of you, especially if you've ventured out and started doing different things and with social media recruiting and online marketing and, more leverage ways of building a business, which people in your profession, people in your organization may not be too keen on, and hopefully offer some lessons on how you can best handle those type of situations, and in general, hopefully help you with your relationships in your life as well. So if you're new to our broadcast, I highly recommend you subscribe to these lives. You can click on the video, a little ellipsis symbol will show up, click on that. You can follow us and turn on live notifications on your desktop. Right above this video, you can click on our logo. That'll take you to our fan page where you can like, and also under the following button, choose to turn on live notifications, meaning you get a little ping on your phone every time we go live. Trust me, it is worth it to be tuning in every single day. We deliver our most impactful daily free content here on these daily lives. And seriously, the archive that we have available on our fan page alone is worth just following us. So go ahead and do that. Either during or after this live, and you'll be able to continue to tune in the future, whether you want to watch the recording or join us live, so you can actually interact with us. Well, so with that said, let me actually check to see if people are on. I monitor comments through my phone here. So there we go. What is up? Hello, Allison's on. Hello, Allison. You usually don't join us at this time of hour or this time of day. All right. So let's get started. I wrote down a few notes with regards to this lesson. So let me see. What is up? Hey, Tiffany. Hey, Ingrid. Love you too. All right. So story time. So I was at Dodger Stadium with a friend. It was his birthday, so I decided to treat him, and we went to. So usually when I go to Dodger Stadium, I don't sit in the regular seats. I go to Stadium Club, which is a restaurant, one level up, and just. The reason is because there's a buffet, there's a bar, and you can sit in comfy office chairs while you watch the game, so you don't have to be crammed in a little seat or have to get up every 5 minutes to have somebody get out and go to the bathroom or buy a hot dog or whatever. So I like that part of it. So anyway, it was a great game. Whatever, we were walking out of the game. And my friend just starts freaking out. So we're walking halfway to the car, and he just starts freaking out, like, oh, crap. I mean, he said other words, but, crap. And I'm like, what? And he's cursing at himself, and he's like, and he's looking at me like, my wallet. And I'm like, what? I don't have my wallet. I'm like, where'd you leave it? And I guess he's looking at me like he thinks like maybe I'm playing a joke on him. Like I saw his wallet and grabbed it, and he was hoping I was playing a joke on him. And I just start like, I'm like, okay, well, what do you want me to do about it? Go get it. And so finally he bolts back to Stadium Club. And at this point, you usually can't re-enter a stadium once you leave. It's a security issue. So fortunately, security let him in and actually escorted him into the restaurant. And so he's looking everywhere for his wallet. He looks in the bathroom, looks near the bar where we were sitting. He can't find it. Ultimately, what happens is somebody ended up turning in the wallet. But he had $800 in the wallet. And even though they found the wallet, the $800 was missing. And at some point, he was telling me that, like, I didn't follow him back to the restaurant. I just waited outside. And when he came out, he's limping. And so he's, hobbling, limping, upset with himself, whatever. I'm like, what's going on? Why are you limping? And so he found his wallet, so he doesn't have to do all this stuff with the DMV or credit cards, any of that stuff. The problem is someone stole $800 from his wallet. But it still didn't explain the limping. And what basically happened is he was so upset that this money that he had was gone that he just basically, he in a fit of anger, he kicked the door and kicked it in such a poor way that he basically crushed his toes. So he has this horrible thing happen to him, and then out of a fit of anger and losing control, he ends up hurting himself. And so there's that story. What the hell does that have to do with network marketing or any of that stuff? Well, I'll tell you in a second. The other story has to do with something I've already shared on these lives, with a top earner in a certain company lashing out at some of our members, especially, and those members are top earners, already earned their keep in their company, or earned their keep and to do whatever they want, in my opinion. But clearly he's not happy that they're choosing to build their business in a different way and participate in different programs. And so what he did was he lashed out on calls, basically calling out these people, defaming their name, de-edifying them. Not only that, going to corporate and reporting them, accusing them of doing things that are against policy, so getting the company involved. So at this point, when you're getting your company involved, what are you trying to do at that point? Basically encouraging them to shut down these accounts of these people who have built an organization and earned quite a bit of money. Like, what does this have to do? Well, I mean, why would somebody want to do that? Rather than speak to somebody directly in person and go, hey, what's up? What are you working on? Help me understand this because I'm concerned. Rather than doing that, he goes over their head, straight to the company, and basically attempts to try to get their account shut down, therefore their income gone. Now that didn't happen. All of them still have their incomes, but why would somebody want to do that? So, and so what I want to talk about is about anger. We as human beings, we're going to get angry. We're going to have emotions, and if you've ever, speak honestly, if you've ever gotten angry and lashed out at somebody, or somebody got angry and lashed out at you, like verbally, or got upset with you verbally, drop me a number 1, because I think we all have. So everybody on this call should be dropping a number 1 right now in the comments. But really, what my point here is that these two stories that I shared with you demonstrated a submission to primal behavior. We have our primal selves and we have our conscious self. We have our impulsiveness and then we have our thoughtfulness. We have that caveman or Neanderthal inside us, and we have our civilized the person inside us. It's the difference between killing and forgiveness. Anger is essentially the catalyst for violence. Ultimately, lashing out is an akin to violence. Getting angry at yourself, getting angry at somebody else, and then actually having the lashing out is an actual action. So why do we do that? Why do we lash out and or try to hurt somebody, report somebody to the company, lash out on a call, try to defame them publicly? Well, we're trying to hurt them. We're trying to actually commit violence on them. And when we receive this lashing out, it's a form of rejection. And so rejection on the primal level, when it's received, translates to basically death. It's still in our DNA. So we're basically, somebody rejects us or gets angry with us, we're assuming they're going to leave us. We're assuming they're going to just on a primal level, maybe not consciously, intellectually, but on a primal level, emotionally, it hurts. So that's why verbally expressing anger at somebody causes one of two reactions. It either hurts them emotionally if they're a loved one, and they receive that, either hurts them emotionally, or it's a catalyst for further violence or retaliation. So defamation, like I said, defamation, speaking badly about somebody in public, is a form of violence. The example that I talked about earlier with this guy who's trying to basically defame and slander, and he ultimately hurt the businesses of these other top earners because he doesn't like the way they're conducting business. It's a form of violence, and the reason why it's actually worse than if they had actually hit them or slapped them, in my opinion, because he's going behind their back to basically take away their livelihood. People that have families and kids, and trying to get their account shut down so that they're basically their income goes to zero, and these people have to scramble to pay the most basic of bills, unless they did a lot of saving. But the point is, you're trying to hurt that individual. That's a form of like essentially modern day violence. The purpose of defamation is to hurt and destroy somebody and someone's life. In the case of my friend, when he got angry, he didn't know how to direct that anger. He didn't know who to blame, and so he attacked the door. The door basically took the brunt of that anger. So that was still violence, and it turned out it ended up being violence against himself. So, but this is, what I'm saying is we have to be conscious of the choices we make in emotional situations. It's critically important that we become aware when we are acting in a primal nature. So, these are primal behaviors. We have them. They're in us because at some point we needed them to survive. Get angry at the person that goes too deep into your territory, or in fact, not even get angry at them, kill them. And so obviously we don't usually do that anymore. If somebody gets too close to our house, we don't automatically shoot them. We say, hey, what's up? But it's still in us, primal behavior, and we have to be conscious of the choices we're making to alter the state of being and perform thoughtful action. Now, if you've ever caught yourself being angry or being emotional in general at somebody or at something, and then caught yourself and managed to calm yourself down and use the technique to calm yourself down, give me a number 2 and let me know what it is you did in order to kind of bring yourself down or kind of control yourself. I'd love to know what strategies you guys use in order to kind of help control your emotions, because a lot of you are watching this are already top earners, very successful in either your careers or network marketing or something else, and you're obviously part of this community, so you had to put some thought into taking that action. So I know you're thoughtful people. So what did you do to you notice yourself becoming angry, you became aware of it, you kind of take out of body experience type of thing. What did you do in order to kind of come out of it? Now, this is hard. Trying to catch yourself when you're in this emotional state is very hard, and we want to give into all the primal side of ourselves. We want to give in because it's easier. More often than not, we do give in. We do lash out or get angry or express our emotions in a way that's maybe not healthy. And instead of using our intellect to help us make better choices in those moments, we start using this intellect that we've developed. We start using that intellect to justify our aggression. So we start talking to ourselves to give ourselves reasons why we're now lashing out and being aggressive or violent. And we even start scheming. We start scheming to develop better ways to continue to hurt those whom we believe maybe hurt us in some way. And so we're going to use intellect no matter what. We're going to use the intellect to either calm ourselves down and kind of think rationally the situation, or we're going to use our intellect to hurt somebody and become better at hurting somebody. And that's essentially what we have in our society. If you're a politician, you scheme, you use your intellect to hurt other people. That's essentially the job. Hopefully that's not what we're doing here. But here's my point. Lashing out is also a failure of taking responsibility for the choices that we've made up until that point. And so when we lash out, we're essentially blaming something else for that situation. So in the case of that top earner who was lashing out at people in his organization who were doing things a different way, His the lack of evolution basically. I'm reading some notes here real quick. So this essentially top burner, or this dinosaur, basically he resulted in people threatening other people and lashing out. But really, what it is, it's a lack of taking responsibility for not evolving in his business. And so because he's not evolved and bothered to figure out what else is out there, rather than taking responsibility and going, hey, let me learn more about what these people are doing, he lashes out, and immediately whatever is not familiar must be bad. Therefore, he lashes out like a caveman, and that's what ended up happening. My friend kicked the door, caused violence on himself because he had that emotional reaction. He wanted to blame somebody, but ultimately he knew he couldn't blame anyone but himself for having left his wallet in a poor place. And so when we become conscious of our state of mind in the moment, we have the opportunity not suppress the anger, but we have an opportunity to actually channel it in other forms. And there was this interesting article, and thanks so much for your thoughts, guys. Some of you guys are saying you guys pray, to kind of calm yourselves down. That's so awesome. Some of you guys just wait, give you guys yourselves time to kind of bring yourselves down. But there's also an opportunity to basically channel that energy in a different way. And there's an interesting thing, I found it online as I was kind of researching some of this stuff, and it talked about anger and violence in sports. And it says studies have shown that as anger increases, cognitive processing speed goes down, fine motor coordination and sensitivity to pain decrease, and muscle strength increases. So we become more primal. The reason our strength increases is because usually anger in the olden days, caveman days, led to violence or possibly even hurting or killing somebody. So for some athletes doing tasks, anger can be helpful. For example, as a defensive lineman who must make his way past the blocker, that aggression can be helpful on some level. For other tasks, anger can be a hindrance. A quarterback who needs to read the defense before deciding which receiver to throw to is more likely to perform better if he is not angry. And in fact, research supports some of these ideas. Players in football positions that require a lot of decision making tend to demonstrate lower levels of anger than players at positions that do not. And so that in and of itself is a sports thing, but it reminds me of me doing martial arts. And actually, when you're learning to fight, when you're learning to spar, initially the first time you get really scared, you're frazzled, somebody starts hitting you in the face, so obviously you're going to be like, you're going to respond emotionally and maybe try to lash out. Maybe you get angry because somebody's pummeling you and you don't know how to defend yourself. Eventually what you learn is how to be unemotional in that state. You're practicing aggression. In martial arts, we practice aggression, yet, we actually, when practicing that aggression, we actually are training ourselves not to be angry and to control our emotions in the most stressful situations, which is why, a quarterback in a stressful situation, he has a bunch of people that are 300 pounds running ahead of him full speed, wanting to kill him, yet he has to keep his cool so he can make the decisions he needs in order to win the game. That's ultimately what we're trying to do in business. We're trying to make the right decisions under stressful circumstances. Sometimes people wrong us. Sometimes the stress is self-inflicted. Whatever it is, we have to, keep a state of mind that allows us to make sound decisions. And being in a state of anger and other negative emotion doesn't do that. What if in the case of somebody that's trying to hurt you, and this is how it applies to network marketing, in the place somebody's trying to hurt you or not agreeing with what you're doing or whatever, the advice I gave all the people that dealt with this guy who was lashing out at them, that was an upline, was quite simple. There's a better, if you're angry at that person, great. But there's an opportunity here for you to channel that energy in a different way. And so as we evolve as humans, we obviously get to regulate our emotions better. And so one of the things I advise is, look, as a marketer in business, we have what we do here at Elite Marketing Pros. We develop skills that allow us to respond in a different way. our ultimate revenge, if we really are, if somebody lashes out at us, we don't want to lash out. We don't talk ill of them on online, or publish anything, or try to defame them in front of other people. I would recommend, as much as satisfying as that would be to like talk smack about somebody else, and trust me, I've been there. Give me a number 3 if you've ever spoken ill of anybody and regretted it later, because I certainly have, and that's an example of giving in to that primal nature. But ultimately, what you want to do is be able to channel that energy in a different way. As marketers, our ultimate revenge is our success, and we actually have the skills to succeed in a way that is more powerful than any form of anger, any form of lashing out that you can ever do. The funny thing is, anytime another marketer or another person in this industry has wronged me in any way, and I felt wronged, I didn't lash out at them. If I did speak to them, obviously I made my feelings known. But what it did was, I'm like, I'm a marketer. I have the skills to beat this person in business. So what I've done now, even with this top earner who lashed out at some of my close friends, is I'm marketing to his audience. Like, I'm running ads directly to his audience, so that I essentially it's not just a form of like revenge, so to speak. What I'm doing is actually I'm trying to save other people in his organization from a very bad situation, and I don't have to say a thing about anything he did. All I have to do is offer value to those people. Clearly, they're going to see that he's not. At some point, they're going to see he's not a good person, and that when the right time approaches, they're going to see what I have to offer, and hopefully come into a better place and a better community that can help them. And so, as marketers, we have that ability to get revenge through our success, not through a primal means of lashing out. And this leads me to my final point. As we evolve as human beings, as humans, we're going to be able to regulate our emotions better. And those people who regulate their emotions better will become the most dominant. Those are the people that are able to regulate their emotions under stressful situations will become richer, wealthier, more influential, and more powerful in our society. And those that fall victim to their primal urges, not just anger, any emotional issues, and make primal decisions based on kind of like the heat of the moment, those are the people that are going to end up in prison, or they end up dead, or they're going to self-destruct in some other way. That's how I predict we're going to evolve, and hopefully you can basically help yourselves and your family to be one of those humans who actually tends to evolve and become the more dominant species. That's essentially the principle of evolution. And I want to share one more thing about a personal experience. And I think it has nothing to do with anger, but it does have to do with emotion. So when I turned 32, for some reason, I started dealing with a little bit of depression. I wasn't sure why, where it came from. I wasn't understanding what was happening. But at first, of course, you're like you have a few days and you feel bummed out. But it became persistent, and I wasn't sure quite how to handle it. And there's this level of anxiety that sets in, especially when you're alone. And so what I did, I didn't know what else to do, but because I've always considered myself a pretty rational and in control person, I started observing myself. I started kind of like almost looking at myself as a lab experiment, and trying to just look at myself as kind of like almost like an out-of-body experience, and just observe what's happening, and start observing what activities may increase the level of depression, what interactions with people. And it came to the point where eventually I started looking at the foods I was eating. What kind of food, how am I eating? Am I going out and partying too much? All this stuff. And so over time, I was able to basically eventually manage and overcome that depression, because even though I was still feeling that way, there was a part of me that was always observing myself. So there was a part of me that always was aware that I was going through this. Most people, when they go through a negative experience, sadness, depression, anger, they're not aware of themselves. They're just going to go through it. And so for that, I have to thank I think that primarily my martial arts training, and also what I've learned at the Landmark Forum, because having that ability to observe yourself and be aware of yourself when you're going through certain periods in your life are gonna happen. They're gonna happen. but having that self-awareness is going to be critically important for you to be able to eventually come out of it. You may not have solutions immediately, but you'll be able to observe yourself. What normal people do is they go to a doctor, I feel depressed, they get some pills and whatever. So I had the opportunity to analyze what lifestyle choices I was making that was potentially contributing to this emotional state. And fortunately, I discovered, what some of those things were, so that I don't have to deal with that anymore. But it wouldn't have happened if I didn't have that automatic thing that I do. Is now I become observant of myself. I become aware of myself, and that's what I hope that you guys develop as you grow personally, professionally. That anytime you get emotional when you're not getting results in your business, when you're running campaigns or you're prospecting and you're just not getting results, I hope that you just don't get angry and emotional. And I hope eventually those emotions become, lower and lower, that you take that opportunity to observe yourself and truly analyze what it is you can do better in those moments or what led up to that in order to produce better results in the future, both personally and professionally. So hope this is, helpful for you guys. I just, obviously there's been a lot of experiences over the past few weeks, related to my friends who were dealing with essentially a Neanderthal, who was lashing out at them, and a Neanderthal that was unaware of what he was doing on that level, or maybe he's purely aware and is just an evil person. Either way, how they handled the situation and how I advise them, I think, is the right way. Get your revenge through your success and channel that energy in a constructive manner. So that's it for today. Let me see if you guys want to know more about what we do here at Elite Marketing Pro to channel this energy in a constructive way that creates more leverage in your business. Go to the link in the description if someone shared this with you, or go to elitemarketingpro.com and check out our Attraction Marketing Bootcamp or our social media recruiting guide. Both of them are free. You can download them right now at elitemarketingpro.com or in the link in the description. So let me just check it. This information today is priceless. Jan, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks for your honesty. Great information. Allison, very helpful. I thank you for your vulnerability and your courage to stand up for what's right. Thank you so much, Allison. I love you guys. I try to take the high road and not lower myself. I want to see what some of you guys do. And okay, I can't go back. Okay. What you do in a situation, Jeannie, when you're angry, you walk away, cool down. If it's something or someone I must deal with, schedule a face-to-face to better understand each other. If they're reasonable people, we can usually find common ground. That's great advice. Asking God to help me, stepping back briefly to think, knowing that the negative reaction is wrong and choosing the right reaction. Great stuff. Awesome, guys. Well, have a wonderful weekend. I really, today I shared a part of my life that I've never shared publicly, but hopefully it helped you out. Because definitely the way I handled it, it took a little while, but eventually I started understanding that certain things, change when you get older. And so you have to make certain lifestyle changes to continue to make progress in your lives. So take care, everybody. We will see you guys Monday for our next Daily Dose of Awesome. We are just over a week away from the No Excuses Summit. And this next week, I'm going to be having some 6, 7, and 8-figure earners as guests for our Daily Dose of Awesome. So be sure to stay tuned, and we will talk soon. Take care, guys.